What's up, YouTube? It's time for a review of the New Testament record, Brotherhood of the Snake, out this past Friday, October 28th. Hugely anticipated. We've been hearing about this thing for what feels like fucking forever. Like, even the title, Brotherhood of the Snake, has been floating around the internet since at least the beginning of the year, so this has been quite the build-up. This record, of course, follows up 2012's Dark Roots of Earth, which very simply is one of the top 5 thrash albums of the modern era. Modern era meaning like this post-nu metal revival of the genre. It was so flawlessly written, flawlessly played, flawlessly produced. I mean, it could go toe-to-toe with any of the band's classic albums. It could go toe-to-toe with The Gathering. It could go toe-to-toe with The New Order, with Ritual, fucking any of them. So this is the follow-up to that behemoth. And the very first thing I noticed with the first leak and opening track, Brotherhood of the Snake, is that sonically, in terms of the sound of the record, like, nothing has changed. It literally sounds like the band took Andy Sneap's Pro Tools settings from Dark Roots of Earth and just used them again. Sneap isn't producing this time around, but he's still involved. He's actually mixing and mastering this record, so maybe I'm not that far off. But of course, that's a positive thing because Dark Roots had this wonderfully clean and meticulous, yet never overproduced sound to it. But anyway, so musically, the song Brotherhood of the Snake gets this record off to a ferocious start. That blast beat that kicks everything off kind of threw me for a loop because it kind of plunges you right into the record and adds this whole extra layer of aggression to the typical Testament sound. This song's got the kind of frantic riffing that we've come to expect from the last couple of Testament records. There's a pretty standard but enjoyable harmonized solo section that sticks out to me, but I'm really into the lyrics here. I know the title of Brotherhood of the Snake is based on some sort of ancient secret society, but just the combination of words that are used here is just badass. Like, they've been watching you through shapeshift eyes by the gods who decree our fate. The gods who decree our fate. That just fits the intensity of the music so well. The second track, Pale King, is excellent as well. It starts off with more of just like a pummeling fury before it tightens up for this up-tempo groove for the verses. But the best part of the song for me has to be that like 80s hard rock influence riff that shows up about 1 minute and 49 seconds in. People who know me just know that I eat shit like that up. And the bridge section here features some real gruff yet melodic vocals from Chuck Billy and this awesome sinister guitar riff underneath it. I found that with Pale King, this song really invoked like that more primal thrash fan in me that I've been a little bit out of touch with for the last 2 or 3 years as I've been getting a lot more into extreme metal and I've been seeking out a lot more impenetrable and complex kind of music. The next track, Stronghold, is another rager. This song is a prime example of how on this record, as opposed to Testament's last bunch of records, the riffs are a bit less technical, a bit less complex, and veer a bit more towards that basic old school 80s thrash metal vibe. But yeah, this song also features probably my favorite guitar solo on the LP. Skolnick just goes for the fucking throat. There's no like melodic passages in between. It's just straight shred, which I really love. But the indisputable highlight is that wah pedal breakdown. That's fucking intense. Centuries of Suffering is a great track too. The riffage here feels very modern Slayer. And by modern Slayer, I mean a reworking of the Verses and War Ensemble. but in all seriousness, this is probably the most balls out track on the record. I especially love how they opted for extreme metal style tremolo picking around that 2-minute mark, and then later they incorporate some short, quick bursts of blast beats. I love when they add these elements. I think they add a lot to the Testament sound. You can also find some short, quick blasts on the song Blackjack. So as you can see, the praises that I have for this record are pretty straightforward. It's essentially Testament throwing it back to mostly that window of time between the Legacy and the Ritual, but upping the extremity slightly and of course upping the production. That being said, I do not unfortunately love this record in the way that I loved dark roots. I do have a couple significant issues with it. The first issue is with the lyrics on some songs. Now, to be fair to Testament, lyrics tend to be a little more disposable and a little bit of a weak point for thrash metal as a whole, but they matter to me. So a song like Born in a Rut, it shoots for like this Motorhead-esque sleaze, which is kind of corny to me. You have lines like, I know I still got problems, but I don't care, which is delivered in like this spoken word kind of thing. It just did not do it for me. Around the closer Number Game, where Chuck Billy is like counting down his victims, that was really campy to me. But the worst offender has to be the song Canni-Business. I think it's really awesome that Testament are like using their platform to speak on an issue, in this case weed legalization, that they care about, that they're passionate about, but my God, does it not fit with a thrash song at all. Especially with an album with a real evil looking cover called Brotherhood of the Snake, where elsewhere there's all these violent themes. It reminded me a lot of Disturbed's Fire It Up, in that it's very hard to squeeze these lyrics about in this case about a stoned world order into this music. It's like if you took the most sugary Wiz Khalifa instrumental and you had George Corpsegrinder growl about dead bodies over it. It might be hilariously entertaining, but we don't have a match. And it's that reason that this is my absolute least favorite track on the record. My other gripe here is that there's just nothing new being offered on Brotherhood of the Snake. The reality is that this isn't 2008 anymore. The concept of an old school thrash band making a modern record that sounds like their old shit, it's just not as exciting anymore. It's not as big of a deal. Think back to 2008 when Formation of Damnation came out. Testament it's a return to form. It's really exciting. Now think about all the time that has passed since that record and this one. You have all these big four releases. This year alone, you have a Megadeth record. You have a Metallica record coming out. Sodom put out a great record. Death Angel put out a great record. You have Creator in early 2017. So the reality is that this just isn't a novel thing anymore. So you have to bring something a little bit more to the table now in 2016. And I can count on literally one hand the amount of moments on Brotherhood of the Snake that caught me even a little off guard. And look, it's not Testament's job to be super avant-garde, but a chunk of this record gets so achingly familiar to me to the point where it starts affecting my enjoyment of the music. The riff to Number Game, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I mean, when I have more time, I will make a list for all of you with all the riffs in metal history that do that same exact thing, but for now, I'll just say I hate it because it's played out. That middle section of Seven Seals, anytime I hear a palm-muted E string for more than like a measure, I get really annoyed at this point, because that's quite literally the most rudimentary thing you can possibly do in this genre. I felt the same exact way when I heard the middle section in the Megadeth song Head Crusher back in 2009. Maybe some of it has to do with the song structures being a little less adventurous this time around, or the fact that there's really no clean guitar passages. There's definitely no Return to Serenity or Cold Embrace on here, and that even the lead guitar playing gets kind of dull too. That really bummed me out. Like that super extended Eric Peterson solo in the song Blackjack, that shit put me to sleep. Yeah, I was kind of disappointed with the lead playing on here. It feels like Eric and Alex Skolnick are kind of just going through the motions. A lot of these solos feel semi-improvised, and they don't really have a lot of melodic content that grabs you. And this is particularly a shame, because it's very much Alex Skolnick's virtuosic lead playing that helped distinguish Testament in the late 80s. And yeah, of course, the playing on here is still ripping. There's still a lot of technical shit and a lot of dazzling shred sections, but just nothing really grabbed me in these solos. So basically, there's that whole tinge of boredom thing at play for me here. But I am by no means shitting on this record, because let's face it, I see no scenario where Testament fans are disappointed with this thing. If you simply want a heavy, thrashing ass record, there's nothing to complain about. If you're looking to hear classic sounding Testament with that shiny, grade A modern production, I am by no means saying this isn't that. I just personally had some significant roadblocks that prevented me and held me back from loving it the way I wanted to love it. But Props to Testament for bringing the thrash once again. Brotherhood of the Snake gets a 7 out of 10 from me. As always, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or shoot me a message so we can continue to talk music, and I'll see you guys soon.